Hey guys, I just wanted to release this video because you seem to like the other video I put out. So this one's one further detailing what exactly is in my car and what I've done to it since, which has been actually a lot. So I'm gonna get to explaining what all the specs are. Alright, first up is my car itself. It's a 2007 Ford Focus. It has 4 doors and about 70,000 miles on it. I got it back in 2014, so it was 2 years ago by now. It has a 20% tint on all its windows, including the visor, which I just got probably a year ago by now. And driving in the morning, it has helped me a lot. I had my rims sprayed with 2 different coats of spray paint. It's the same color as my car, charcoal gray, and I believe it's like some sort of rubber. It's a bit. I think they did white first, and then there was some charcoal gray on top of it. For the headlights, I had installed 2 halo projector lenses, which are by Spec-D tuning on Amazon. They work pretty good at night. I wish that the actual bulb was brighter though, so I might touch that at some point, but I have no plans for it right now. I also got an Escort Passport 9500 IX radar detector. It saved me a lot, just not truly because of speeding, but mostly because of how loud my car is. I've gotten pulled over for it once. In my before I had my DC upgrade. It was back when I had the Pioneers Champion Pro, I think D or W3003 D4s, and those weren't all that luxurious, but they were still pretty good. Since I do a lot of city driving, not only for going to college, but also going to work every day, it just keeps an extra eye out for me so I don't have to pay full attention on looking around for cops. If you're curious on what song it was that I got pulled over with, it was not necessarily because of the bass factor. It was just the subs were rattling my trunk so bad. It was just making a really annoying sound, and that's what brought up the cops' attention. And sure enough, he came after me. So there you go. But the song name was "Don't Hate the 808" by Bass Nectar, which is kind of ironic if you think about it. I mean, the 808's the bass drum, and the cops just coming by, pulling me over, and almost giving me a ticket because of, well, the bass. So to help that, and to help isolate all the sounds from the outside and try to keep some of it on the inside, um, I got two 36 square foot boxes from Sonic Electronics. They're a Stinger Expert Roadkill series sound deadener. I put it on the trunk, the trunk lid, the roof of the trunk itself. Recently, the driver door. I also did the license plate, the back of it, and since then it sounds like a rock. So I highly recommend sound deadening. It does help get rid of that annoying sounds. And if I had that on at the time of when I got pulled over for that song, I probably would not have gotten pulled over. So one of the more helpful components I've installed is a Stinger voltage display. I highly recommend it for anybody who has car audio, and even if you're a beginner, I mean it's helped me a lot. I went in, I installed it, and basically you take off the front cover, and there's an adjustment for your voltage basically, and you put a multimeter and measure the voltage at your amp and set the display to whatever that voltage is, and once it's matched, you're basically getting a constant readout of what your voltage is. So when I'm blasting it, and I have to keep an eye on the volts and make sure it doesn't go too low, and I can see exactly what voltage my system is going at, whether it's charging or not, and how low it's hitting. The only thing is that you got to be aware of is that it doesn't update as fast as the multimeter would. So when you're really cranking on it, it'll only update every second or so, rather than every maybe half second. Alright, now to the actual audio component aspect. I went through 3 Pioneer radios, not because I broke them, but because newer and better and more features I wanted. So in the end, right now I have one Pioneer DEH 9600 BHS, and the outputs are 3 RCA, one for the sub, one for the front and rear seats, and it's, geez, I think it's 4 volts. Plugged into that via USB for the digital decoding would be an iPhone 4 64 gigabyte, and I don't personally like Apple devices, but it works very well with any Pioneer device that I've plugged into it. So if you're running a Pioneer head unit, that's pretty much your best friend. It would be Apple, at least their iPods. I have a lot of music on it. I have probably about 2,500 songs, but most of them are 320 kilobytes per second in MP3, but I have a few in FLAC, like Metallica's One and 10,000 Fists by Disturbed, some Five Finger Death Punch songs, but I don't think I have many bass songs in FLAC, so 1,500 kilobytes per second, not for bass, unless I put a CD in, I guess. Alright, for the subs, they are two 12-inch DC Audio Level 5 M3s. Those are 3,500 watts RMS each, and it's custom built because I use my car as a daily driver, so it'll be a lot better at heat handling. Those are running on one DC Audio 7.5K, which is 7,500 watts RMS at 14.4 volts. All of the DC components, any CDT components I'm getting in the future, all have been gotten to me by Jim. He's a rep for a lot of car audio companies, and he only goes through the best. And I text him, call him, whatever, any part of the day, and he gets back to me every day. And he's just a really cool dude, and if you need any help with car audio, I highly recommend him. And he gets me deals too, so it doesn't hurt. The box that is holding the subs is a 4 cubic foot total box. That's 2 cubic feet per side. It's built by csstang, also on the forums of the same username. He lives in California also, and I love the box. It's just awesome. I think it's made out of birch wood, and it's got the normal carpeting on it, the gray carpeting. And I haven't done it yet, but you can attach eyelets to your cabling, and my 8-gauge cabling I'm using for my subs, and you just eyelet it right to the back onto a nut and bolt onto the back of the box, and attach it right to the amp, instead of having to have all the wires coming out, holes or push terminals or anything like that. Right now I have them going through the port, but that's only temporary. I believe the box is tuned to 35 hertz. Right now I have 2 Kicker CS68s. They're 2 coaxials. I actually have them in all 4 doors, but right now I only have them connected on the driver and passenger. It's 2 6x8 woofers, and each has a half-inch tweeter. They're 75 watts RMS. Nothing too special. I got them at Best Buy probably 2 years ago when I got my car. So they've been working for me fine, so I recommend if you want to get them for kind of like a first-time temporary solution. Powering the kickers is 1 Ampere audio 150.4. It's at 4 ohms bridged. It's giving out about 450 watts RMS times 2 channels, so that perfectly will match up with my CDTs I'm getting. The Ampere audio is also from Jim, so get that too. For my charging system, I have 2 excess power D3400 batteries. There's one under the hood and one in the rear. I believe it's wired in parallel. Also, I have 24 Maxwell super caps. There's the capacitors basically, and each is 2.5 volts and running at 2600 farads each. And there are 6 banks, which is equal to 15 volts per bank, and each bank has 15,600 farads, so that's quite a bit. They're all in a custom-made box that Jim got from me, also the caps. So put that in there, and it's stabilized the voltage beautifully. It's amazing on how well they actually work. For the battery terminals, I have a total of 4 toolmaker, 6 zero gauge inputs to battery terminal. I mean, they're just I guess battery blocks, or I don't know what you'd call them, but they just basically sit on top of the battery. You bolt it down into the whichever terminal you want it to go into, and it makes it how many inputs you want it into. So I have 4 of those, and I'm actually using up quite a few of those inputs. So for the actual generation of the power, I have one Mechman alternator, puts out 250 amps at 14.4 volts, but I highly doubt it's actually putting out 250 amps. I think it's probably more 200 or 220, but they rate it very not cautiously whatsoever. They just give it the best you could in the best possible circumstance. So that's nowhere near what I'm getting, because then but connecting all of these components up is various amount of cables. Starts off with 100 feet total right now of new Canoe Concepts zero gauge. I have one positive, one ground, front to back so far. I plan on putting 6 additional runs in, but right now there's only one positive, one ground, so I'm going to fix that soon. There's also 4 runs of zero gauge going from the rear battery to the subwoofer amplifier, which is, it can handle 2 zero gauge inputs for positive and 2 zero gauge inputs for negative. For the subs, I have some 8 gauge wire running directly to them. They work fine, so I'm happy. I also have a 4 gauge ground and 4 gauge positive going to the door amp from the rear battery. Everything obviously has to be fused, so to prevent wire damage and possibly component damage. So I went with some Blue Sea Systems on Amazon. I found them, and they're it's a total of 7 A&L fuses, and I also had to get the fuse block to hold them, and it's going to be 4 200 amp fuses, 150 amp fuse, and 2 175s. So my future outlook for this car, before I get rid of it, probably in maybe 2 or 4 years, I'm not sure yet. We'll see how it goes. But right now, I'm looking at throwing in a 300 amp excessive amperage alternator, obviously at 14.4 volts. But I got the alternator in the mail. I just haven't installed it yet. Didn't have the time or the patience to deal with it at this point, but it's going in probably within hopefully this next month, actually. I told you before, 6 more runs of zero gauge total, 3 more positive, 3 more negative. That would be gotten to me, I think it's maybe 150 feet, maybe, I don't remember. But it's going to be by Sky High Car Audio. Now I've been saying that I have I'm going to get these CDT speakers for the doors, and truth is I actually already have them. I just haven't put them in yet. Have to do away some grinding and a bunch of stuff that I don't want to do right now. But they're I have 2 6.5 CDT ES6s running at 100 watts RMS, well, at least going to be. I also have 2 3-inch CDT ES03s running at also 100 watts RMS, and also a 1-inch CDT ES010 tweeter. Give me 2 of those as well. Connecting all this together is going to be 2 MX100 crossovers, also by CDT, and that should hopefully give me probably good amount of sound range there. So I'm excited to get those in, but just haven't gotten around to it yet. It's killing me, but just have to find the time, and it's just not that easy. And now, finally, we've gotten to the part of the video that we can show off some videos. It's just it was late at night. Obviously, it had to be in the dark. But I threw a water bottle into some or all of the videos that I took, and they're just, I think the same song. I think it was Ludacris's "How Low," and it loves the speakers, or the speakers love it. But however it works, enjoy the video, and I'll get back to you when it's done. Alright, hope you like the videos, and I will hopefully be back at some point within the next year with some more sub videos. It's coming on summer, so hopefully we'll get everything installed, the CDTs installed, the excessive amperage, new alternator installed, and maybe some more runs of wire. So we'll see how that goes. But until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.